Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Making Money with Benzinga Pro. Today's topic is trading in the matrix. What in the world does that mean? Well, we're going to learn how to navigate these crazy volatile markets with Andy from Mighty Soldier Trades and Mike, aka the Blind Trader. So buckle your seatbelts and get ready for a great show. All right. Well, here we are with Andy from Mighty Soldiers and Mike. Welcome. Great to have you on the show. And just for everybody who's following along on YouTube, make sure that you start your free trial at pro.benzinga.com. I'll throw the link right in there so it's easy to access because, guys, it sounds like you use Benzinga Pro on a normal basis with your trading. I'm sure we'll get to that down the road.
Yeah,
but,
every day. Absolutely every day.
Awesome. And so today we're talking about trading in the matrix with that awesome graphic with all of us in the matrix there. So what does that even mean, and why should our viewers care about that?
Well, to get right into this, basically, well, first of all, thanks for having us. And when people, I think one of the main reasons people fail in their trading is they start to think about this as a rock solid science. The technical analysis of rock solid science, you know, that they've done all their courses, they've learned how to trade. And then, you know, after they've dotted all their I's, they've crossed all their T's, they're still losing money, or else they get hit really big one day or a couple days out of the year. And they're like, how in the world is this happening to me? And that's because pretty much, you know, we're trading in the matrix. This is an ever-changing world. It would be like you going out to your car, you know, and you turn left to go to your driveway, and you know, today your sidewalk goes right, you know, and it could be even worse than that. Now you got a tunnel tomorrow, and it's like endless possibilities of what can go wrong or what can change. So yes, that technical analysis, that science, it gives us an idea, but it's just like moving averages. It's a figment of your imagination. It only is real and authentic when it confirms itself as real and authentic. And that's what we're looking for as traders. We're looking for a place that this imaginary line that we think is going to hold. It looks like it's going to hold. It should hold. It held before, or a line's there that we like to use, you know. And then when we see that that's confirmed, we're willing to take that risk. But the only science that we have in trading to really get into this, the only true science is risk management. Because once we hit that line, once we hit that figment of our imagination and we make that a real thing, that turns out to not be real. What are we doing then? So we have only one thing that we can do. We can decide before we get into that trade, how much was I willing to lose? How much am I willing to put on the line? Because I have to risk just like any other business. And that's what this is. It's a business. We're going risk to reward 5 to 1, 3 to 1, 2 to 1. He was telling me earlier that his win rate was over 50%. I don't remember what the number was, but
56%. Yeah.
Right, and he's saying, you know, he's questioning that win rate for himself. How good is that? That's a very good win rate. If you have the proper risk to reward, that's a very good win rate.
I was explaining to Andy, I had a 86 or 87% win rate last year, but 56% this year, and I'm actually making more money this year because I'm cutting those losses and moving back in again, and I can trade it multiple times a day if I need to.
And that's exactly it.
I need to get that win rate. The win rate's most important now. The win rate's just there, you know. It doesn't matter if I'm winning 30% or 50% of the time, as long as I'm taking that profit and cutting those stops as quick as I can.
All right. So just to recap what you said, I'm hearing just know what you're willing to lose on each trade, not digging yourself into a deeper hole, and then being disciplined about cutting your losses quick and taking profit when it's there. When we're talking about these real quick trades, day trades, not getting too greedy, and then even if you don't have a crazy win rate, you'll still be more profitable.
Right.
Well, see, Mike likes to trade a little bit slower. If you guys don't know Mike, the blind trader, he actually has a. I'll let him tell you what he has going on with him. But this guy is the hardest worker. He's dedicated. He even if he's dealing with adversity, he's in here fighting every day to make this happen. But a slower trade, it's all the same. If we don't figure out establish our risk before we get in, how much we're willing to lose. You know, people think there's going to be that time that I got to hit one of these. I got to hit, you know, like a gambling mentality. I got it. One of these penny stocks. If it works out for that guy over there at this trading company or this trading company, and he's showing all his $2 million days and stuff, it can happen for me too. Well, I don't really know if any of that's even real, what these guys are showing on FinTwit and all that. But what I can tell you is, for me, what works for me is establishing risk, only accepting a certain size of a loss on that trade, and letting my win rate work for me. I have a pretty high win rate, but I'm also not trying to go with my quick trades and get like a 5 or 10 to 1. You know, I'm going to get in, get out, collect that dough all day long. 10 trades, 20 trades lately, maybe even more than that. A lot of trades in the day. And if I'm collecting, you know, 10 trades, and my goal is to get $100, you know, $10 a trade, say, it's not that bad. But if I'm trying to get $100 right off the bat in some stock that just started spiking in the morning, I'm probably going to lose 300, you know. It's not really worth it.
No, so Mike, do you want to share a little bit more about the type of trading that you do, since Andy shared some about his scalping strategies yesterday? And what does it look like for you to manage your risk with some of the slower trades?
All right, what I like to do is I go through nights or weekends, and I'll find me some stocks that I like, and I use kind of, I'm sure you know the name of the strat. I use it, you know, look at the monthly, the weekly, and the daily on it. But I also use Benzinga to cover all of my news source for it. Any filings that they've laid out, and if it's had a recent whatever you call it, I could froze up your car.
Catalyst is
yes, anything that's going to make me question it. But I also can go ahead and store it on Benzinga. That way, it's in my watch list, and I'll have alerts ready if something does pop up. That way, when I go to start trading it, I no longer have to look at the big time frames. I get in there on the day. I'm looking for the squeeze where it's going to get real tight and it's going to make its move up or down, and that's where I'm trying to play it at. A lot of times, what I like to do is go on a 15-minute. Once we're in the day, once I've decided that day is a good day to trade it, I go into the 15-minute and I watch that for a squeeze. I call it the 50% candle, 50% retracement on a candle where it pulls down, and then you get a pop back up, say 7.5 minutes in, and it's setting pretty much flat from that candle open. And then wait for it to turn green. And that's my entry point. And my exit point is if it goes back against me. Because usually I find them, they're doing it, it's a 2 down reversal. And I'm trying to catch that for that 15-minute ride back up. And I'll have that tight stop right underneath of it. Gets me in and out of them. And like I said, I'm only winning a little bit over 50% of the time this year, but I'm making better money because I'm taking that profit and cutting them losses as quick as I can.
And I've seen his trades viz, which is his trade journal. I think he's got a couple of them. He's got Trader Sync and Trades Viz. Yeah. Anyways, he's I see his curve, and it's looking pretty nice. So he's managing his risk, and he's establishing this before he gets in.
Right. Trade Viz has a nice place where you can go into on your charts and go back and re-look at where you entered that and where you exited, and it's got it all. Trade Viz is really good for that. For if you're somebody like myself that wants to be able to go back and look at what they did and make sure they're doing it correct, because you know we all make mistakes. We get going in the moment and we just trade. You know, it's like, what did I do wrong? You'll immediately find out, oh gosh, I got a lot of work to do. But I love it. You know, you couldn't get any better than trading.
Are there any tickers that you come to mind that you've traded recently that have that type of 50% pullback at the open that maybe presented a good trading opportunity. I could share my screen on Benzinga Pro, or you can share your screen.
Yeah, I would love to see a visualization of that money.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me see if I've got one here. Pull up LVS if you don't mind.
Sure.
And while you're pulling that up, I just like to say what I like about what Mike's saying there is he's not chasing the head of the snake in this case. You know, he's actually waiting for it to pull back to 50%. You know, and that's exactly what we need to do. Patiently wait for something to establish instead of chasing the head. If we're chasing the head, we're gonna get our head cut off.
Right. Now, if you pull up LVS, go to the daily, you're gonna see that green. You see where it went red on the day and then it turned green? I took that trade right when it went green. And I've been able to stay in it. I'm still in part of that trade today. That's why I keep looking right over here. I've got to check on my stocks.
Okay, so you're talking about on the daily chart.
Yeah,
basically
it went right there. Yep, that was a perfect example of what I was looking for. So I went into the 15-minute and found me an entry, and I actually got in it right at the open. That's not usually the way I do it, but I find something and you got to play it. You know, that's the way it's the matrix. You got to play it when you see it. You know.
So let's see this. So it has this huge wick here at the open.
Yep.
And
that was me entering that trade. You don't expect to get into a trade without it trying to take you out.
Exactly.
You're gonna feel it. You can't go in there without feeling it.
There's nothing easy in this world.
Yeah.
And so,
actually, go back 4 candles to your left, right there. Right there is where I got my entrance. And if you zoom out right here, zoom it way out, you'll see a large candle. Might have been on the 4-hour. I'm sorry. If you go back and look on the 4-hour. I guess I could have shared my screen. And you had a pullback.
Just a ways back?
Yeah. You had a pullback right here. And that right there was part of my lines that I was watching it on.
Okay.
The point of it is if we have a nice big juicy green candle, Mike, we're waiting for it.
It was on the hour, on the 1 hour. Yeah, if you go look on the 1 hour, the 60 minutes, you'll see a pullback right at 4 a.m. this morning. And that was my trigger. It was down here right at my trigger. And that's where I got in at, was right below it with a tight stop. And I didn't stop out on it because I already know they're going to give a good pull. And if you could go back in time and look at that, it was 2 seconds that it did that pullback, and then it was right back up again because it's pre-market. There's not much action going on there. So anything I do is going to get noticed.
So you got in at 4 a.m. and then it went down a bit here at 8 o'clock, you said?
Yeah, I got in at 8.
Oh, you got in at
8 something this morning. But I was watching from that 4 o'clock pullback right here.
Oh, okay. So you're waiting for it to break below that for your entry.
Yeah, basically. To try to find my entry in that stock. Yeah.
Okay. And then we can see what it did here later on in the day. And so, So when you're talking about that tight stop, obviously, was your stop at like $31 or lower?
We actually hit my stop, and I just didn't take it because it was a quick bounce right back up. Yeah, I don't put in a physical stop. I control that myself because it will always take my money if I put a stop in. That's just my personal opinion.
I think I told you that, Jonathan. And basically, sometimes I'll have a stock that's not moving at all. I'll put my stop in, and a couple seconds later, I'll see the stock start running straight towards my stop, nonstop until it hits it. And
is that what you meant by the term "blood in the water"?
When I say blood in the water, what I'm saying is basically I've heard a lot of people say that don't worry about it unless you have 1,000 shares. They're not there, as in they, like whoever it is, market maker, hedge funds, the more sophisticated traders, people with more money and more sophistication than we have. They're not worried about you unless you have like 500 to 1,000 shares, I'm told. Well, that's just not the case. I think Mike can tell you right here. They'll hit you for 1 share. They'll hit you for 10 shares. It just doesn't matter. I mean, nobody here is trying to give away free money. I mean, this is the arena. We're gladiators in this. Like, When we get into this, we expect somebody's trying to kill us, just like we're trying to collect, our money. So nobody's giving away free money around here.
Don't expect action without a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as far as that goes, you never want to add good money into a bad trade. But what I will do on my target, on my entry, is I will create a target zone. So I'll start very light, small amounts of shares, right where I initially want to get in. I know that some of these things are elbowed up and it's going to beast against me a little bit or hit against me just a little bit. So I've created that target zone for my entry. That way I'm getting a better average within that entry. Thing is you have to have a lot of discipline to keep that little circle, that target zone. And you're not going to give any more money to it anywhere outside of that tight little circle. And if you hit your max stop, you have to establish, I'm only willing to lose $100 on this trade. I'm only willing to lose $10, whatever it is. If it gets out of that, if it hits that, you have to stop out. It's not like something where you're averaging down and you're like, hey, I'm going to keep throwing money into this bad trade. And I mean, Ryan says it every day. That's one of the people I've heard say it the most. Don't throw good money at a bad trade,
Yeah.
Right. That's so what I'm hearing there is that you could have a range there. So you could average in. That's how Nick Shaheen talks about it. Average in, don't average down. So start with a smaller initial position, but then you still have your max loss. So if I lose $100 or I lose $10 or I lose $1,000, then I'm out of that trade.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, I would love to have a better entry anyways. Who wouldn't like to have a better entry? So the fact that the system kind of works for us in a way, if we have the trend established, that's what we first need to do. What is the trend? Why do we even want to be trading this to begin with? So if we have the trend established and everything, and when we hit that with a smaller amount of shares, sure, it might take off and go into our direction and give us some profit, but free profit's never a bad thing, even if it's a smaller amount of money, right? So I'm not really worried about making less money. That's the worst thing I think that we can do as traders is be worried about making less money, because then we're going to lose more money. But so if it gives me a better entry to get my full amount of shares in there, as long as it's not changed. Now, if we broke to a lower low or something like that, we broke out of that initial target zone, that's not the same thing. That's averaging down, and that's throwing good money to bad trade, and it's never a good idea. That's the worst thing that we can do for our trading.
Another one of my trades today was HYMC, which is perfect. It's a penny stock. It's one of them that's going to...
Isn't that the one that AMC bought 22%?
Yep, I believe that was them. Yep.
So you traded this. So did you use the news feed for that, or were you just watching did it pop up on a scanner, or?
It popped up on Benzinga scanner. It was on there at 7 a.m. this morning. It was one of the first ones on there because when I come in at 7, my scanner doesn't show much. I got it set for just certain stocks. So it had like 4 of them on it, and that was one of them. So I had it pulled up. And for that one, I was able to get a few different trades in it this morning. So just using my retracement, my pullback, takeoff, pullback, as long as it holds that 50%, 7.5 minutes into that candle, or if it's a 5-minute candle, 2.5 minutes into that candle, if it's setting flat, turning green, you need volume. There is other things that I look at. So, but that's just kind of the quick view of it.
Awesome. Yeah, you could see that it went up, came back, went up again, came back.
Yeah, I could have rode that thing all the way up, but I don't trade that way. I get in and out of them because I don't trust stocks, not these penny ones for sure.
I mean,
Jonathan, that's a big... Go ahead, sorry.
Just that you can get back in. Like, if you get out, that doesn't mean you can't get back in of the trade. So, what were you going to say, Andy?
I was just saying that what you see to the left there, that's that tight consolidation I'm talking about, where that big upper shadow and lower shadow is there, and we got these tight little candles. We held up in this consolidation period, and then we broke green again and made a second run. And that's what we're looking for. We're patiently wanting to wait for, okay, I saw this thing pop. Yep. But after I see it pop, I don't just want to buy it, because most of the time they're just going to keep dropping and go right back where they started, or worse sometimes. So I'm looking for it to hold up in that tight little, people can say bull flag, bull pennant. I don't really care, because, I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of people say that's a cup and handle. It's very, yeah. They're out there with some of their artwork in this chart stuff, but I'm just looking that it did this general deal where it's up and it held tight, and then, we actually broke to the upside rather than the downside on those nice tight candles. These tight candles, that's what they give us. They give us an idea for an entry. I believe the strat's the same way. Like they're letting you know that, hey, we had this movement, this 3 or this big 2, but then we had these little inside candles, these ones, and then we get to see from the 1, are we breaking up or are we breaking down? And it makes it really simple for us to know where these continuations are. And if we do break out to the upside, and that's the problem with entering a little too soon, it'll pull right back inside. And, for me, that's got to be just stopped. Just cut that, because once we pull back inside, we're still in the chop. It's still going to mess with you. Or, you can establish a smaller position with a bigger stop area, so you can let it play out whatever it wants to all the way down. But if you're going with any size, you really have to just stop out really quick if we pull back inside once we break out.
Yeah, just stop out. You can always get back into these stocks. If it runs away on you, let it run. Walk away from that one. Sometimes I have to get up and leave the desk and just let the nerves calm down, because not every trade goes your way. Actually, probably, half of them don't from my yeah.
And we had somebody in our chat today. They said, basically Benzinga Pro, they have the best scanner on the market now. Like everything that's moving. It used to be like, my platform TradeStation, they would have the big gainers and stuff, and a lot of the scans come off. Now, everything I'm seeing there, I'm seeing in Benzinga Pro. Anything I'm hearing on Twitter and in chats or wherever it is, I'm seeing in Pro. Like you guys have done a great job with this thing.
Yeah, awesome. Twitter's just somewhere to entertain ourselves, because we've got everything we need right here with Benzinga. You can't beat that platform.
I'm glad it's working well for you guys. Do you have any favorite scanner settings that you use? Other than, the movers tool is super simple. Just show me what's gapping, right? Do you have any other additional filters that you like to use on the more advanced scanner?
For me, Jonathan, honestly, in the beginning, I wanted to filter down by float. I think that's really cool if you can do that. You guys threw that in there. I had requested it. I'm sure several other people did, and you put float in there. And it's nice to have the low float scanner so you can get those really big mega movers, and you're looking for stock that the volume has rotated through the entire float, a couple times. So however many times is up to you, really. But you just want something that's been through the whole float, and we've rotated through that, and this thing has the potential to be like 100% ripper, or what SPI 4,300% ripper that literally stopped me out on the pullback. Yeah. And that's the thing. I did not do what we were talking about. I didn't re-enter. I wanted to go for this thing. I knew this had all that I was looking for, so I wanted to go for it. It pulled back far further than I could have anticipated. I stopped out, and then this thing went 4,300%. I'm like, what in the world?
Wow. That's it.
To answer your question, though, I don't really want to over filter myself nowadays. I'm looking to just see what's actually making a new high, what's on the movers, where's that action at, and then once I go look at the action, it'll tell me that from there. And you guys have it all. It's not. This is the easiest platform in the world.
Cool. So yeah, you got the share float there. There's as well as short interest if anyone's looking for that. And then over here on price and volume, if you ever want to go for the shorter time frames, we've got change percent as low as a 1 minute time frame, and all of this can update in real time, as well as the 10-second automatic refresh. And then, Mike, did you have any favorites? Favorite things that you look for in terms of news? You mentioned news catalysts. Benzinga Pro is known a lot for news.
Right.
I have my favorite ways to filter it down, but what about you?
For news, I am looking for anything that is going to catch other day traders' eyes. If it's something that's going to make them want to look at it. And the other thing I do that helps with me not having to focus on all that is I use a thing called ChatterQuant, where you can go in and see what tickers are being talked about the most through Reddit, Twitter, and find out what's the most. And then I'll know to pay attention to the news on certain stocks like that, because those are already getting hot when it comes to traders wanting to get into it. And that's what I'm looking for, something with liquidity, something that's going to get me in and out of it quick. So I'm trying to think of I had 100 things to say about what I look for on news, and it just kind of went blank on me. Sorry.
No worries.
But I was going to tell you, in the pre-market, I like to set my scanner for 10,000 volume at least. and that's at 7 a.m. And I'll scoot it up from there on out through the day. I'll raise my volume up looking for things that are spiking.
So you might, if you're on there early in the morning, you just set a minimum volume for the day at 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000.
And then you can just move it up from there later on in the trading day.
Yeah. Yeah, that way I'm not getting something that nobody else is touching. It may, because you'll see stocks that'll spike up with no volume. And if you get in it, it's just going to take your money. I've done it. Andy used to get on to me all the time. No, there's no volume, Mike. And I'd be like, well, let me see. I'd lose money. But no, I've learned my lesson there. It's got to have volume. It's got to have somebody buying and selling.
Yeah, a lot of these.
Make anything.
No offense, Mike, but a lot of these guys that ask me, what do you think about this stock? I said, I don't think about that stock. That stock's not on my mind just yet,
Yeah. That's the thing. I try not to think about stocks, but at the same time, I have to keep up with what's hot because I don't have time to go through and read all these articles to find out if that's the good reason to get in this stock. I need to know what everybody's opinion is because I like to day trade it. I like scalp it. I always look at scalping as different than day trading. Day trading is like my LVS play that I'm playing. I'll day trade that all day, but more than likely close it out before the night's up. Let it play.
So basically, where you're saying that there's multiple trades throughout the day, you think of that as day trading, but a one-time scalp is just in and out once, and then you're not thinking about it.
Yep, in and out, in and out. Yep, I can come in and out of it and not have to worry about it. LVS, I've been watching it. I liked it. So I went ahead and grabbed it. And I did grab it probably a little premature today, but it paid. It was all right. And I would have immediately took my loss and went on about the day if it hadn't held up for me, And another thing I like is the signals. And I'm not sure if anybody else that does day trading has vision issues, not being able to read and stuff, or just, bad headaches and can't focus for long periods of time, but you all hit it dead on when you put a speaker on there, to tell you what's going on. Just like Charlie, I'm not sure if Charlie knows exactly how important he is to somebody with visual impairment because he's reading things off to me that I don't have time or I can't quite read. Because some days I can see better than others because of my eye disease. I have swelling in my eyes, so. And it's just a huge help. But I love the signals. I can sit here and early in the morning hearing these spikes, what's jumping, what's halting. That gives me, I can know right then, well, that's got somebody looking at it because it's doing something. It gives me a reason to go in and say I looked at it on ChatterQuant and I've seen it on Twitter multiple times and then it spikes on your all's list or Charlie brings it up. Well, I'm already ahead of everybody else because I already know that stock's on my watch list. And now I just got confirmation that everybody else is going to be looking at it at the same exact time. So I can find my entrance and exit.
Awesome. One last thing that I wanted to point out is when you do that research, when you're already looking at a trend and something is on a watch list, you can filter the scanner or the signals tool by a watch list. So for those of us who want to filter out the noise of the rest of the market, you would just click on filters here at the top of the scanner tool or the signals tool and click on watch list to say, I only want signals on that watch list. Or over here on the left-hand side, you just go to reference filters and they say, I only want to scan within this list of companies to see what's spiking the most or whatever action you're looking for. And so just the takeaways that I got from today were, watch your entry, the size of your initial order, know how much you're willing to risk up front, the possibility of having a range of entry. So, okay, I'm doing a partial position at first, and then I might add a little bit more as long as it's within this range.
Yeah.
We talked about the pullbacks and waiting for that right entry point, and then some different ways that you can tell what's going on in the market ahead of time before you're just following where the action is, and then not being afraid to take some profit and then maybe get in later on so that you don't lose everything that you gained up to that point. I just want to say thank you. It's great having you on here. Hopefully our our viewers got something out of it. Guys, give us some love with smashing the like button. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. And Andy and Mike, hopefully we can have you back on the show soon.
Hey, I appreciate it. I got to tell you, the hardest part I have about trading happened to me yesterday. I was in the middle of the trade, and a bee was in my office, and I can't find it because I've only got like 5 or 7 degrees of vision in my central vision. So I'm trying to find this bee and trade at the same time. That's difficult.
Thanks for having us, John.
That sounds like it. Well,
thank you all for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you.
See you next time.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? That's right. News headlines have a unique ability to drive stock prices up or down. These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. And if you're looking to grow your portfolio, it doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. An easy-to-read stream of news headlines will increase your opportunities to profit from price changes in the stock market, consolidate a knowledge-based investment strategy, and grow your portfolio. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring to make a positive change in your trading performance. We've already helped thousands of retail traders across the world, and they could not be happier. Increase your market knowledge, boost your exposure to big movers, and make informed trades before major price changes. The opportunities are all around you. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.